sometimes the doctor is wrong. The doctor makes an incorrect guess.
It's not a guess. Doctors that you're talking about that are affirming these gender identities are not doctors. They're not scientists. They are serving activists.
Hi, I'm a queer teacher, and I 1000% do not support this bill. And yes, I do know what's in it. The bill in itself is just another way to stigmatize the LGBTQ plus community. Kids as young as 3 and 4 are actually aware of their gender identity, even if they don't have the language for it.
Yeah.
So very aware of who...
Okay. When I was a kid, I jumped on the VHS box for Mary Poppins because I thought that if I were to jump on the cover art, it would catapult me into another dimension, just like in the movie. I also thought that if I were to take a handful of quarters that I found in my the back seat of my dad's car, and if I were to put those quarters in my mouth and swish them around, I would clean them because they looked very dirty. I ended up in the ER having a tube put down my throat. So tell me more about how kids are aware of what gender identity they are. This is a teacher.
TikTok, this might be a little bit of a weird one, so please pay attention to the warnings on the screen here, but this is something I really want to talk about because I have been made to feel guilty and shameful about this since it started happening to me at the age of 9, and that is ridiculous. I shouldn't have to hide or lie or be embarrassed about a natural function my body does. So all that to say, I'm on my period. You heard me. Feel free to scroll if you don't want to hear about it. Transphobic comments will just get deleted and blocked though, so don't bother.
So I feel really bad because there is, I forget exactly what the medical terminology for it is, but there's something where women will grow insane amounts of body hair. And I've seen a lot of people that just decided not to shave their beard that have this medical condition because I guess it grows back a lot thicker. They have to do it daily. And so a lot of women just let their beard grow. And those people are not considered transgender, or at least the ones that I have seen. They don't call themselves transgender. They just suffer from this medical condition. So that's what I thought this person had when I initially looked at them.
So all that to say, I'm on my period. You heard me. Feel free to scroll if you don't want to hear about it. Transphobic comments will just get deleted and blocked.
The transphobic comments will just get deleted and blocked. I think that this speaks to the false reality that a lot of these people are so sheltered in a safe space. They just can't fathom hearing things that hurt their feelings or are differing opinions or are statements that are based in truth. This person, if you had your period, you're a female. You still are a female. You just have facial hair.
But yeah, long story short, I am on my period. I went off T in October, and my doctor put me on a small dose of birth control to help even out the hormones. Now that I'm off T, that small dose isn't cutting it. And yeah, I'm having a period for the first time in 6 years. And not just any period, the period from hell. Now, I won't go too much into it because it grosses even me out, but it is quite the experience, and I'm having to relearn and re-navigate a lot. And suffice it to say, I think we need to expand the conversation around periods and who has them.
Women. Women have them. Next.
Top surgery is for anybody. There's no template for what you must look like after top surgery. What makes life so beautiful is the diversity in its people. And those who are post-op top surgery are no different. Top surgery isn't limited to one gender, one expression, one style. It is not limited to one ethnicity, one culture, one race. It's not limited to one shape or size. Those who are post-op have just as much variety as the rest of the world. Some choose nipples, some don't. Some have straight scars, some have curved scars, some have no scars. Some of us are feminine, some of us are masculine.
Okay, I can't see any more of this. Let me make a comparison to this. I just came from a tattoo convention with my fiance, and there were a lot of people with huge gauges, like some crazy body modifications, implants, like just crazy, crazy stuff. Do you, boo-boo. But it's just that. It's body modification. It is a form of expression, but I don't think those people, here's the difference, I don't think those people at that convention put all of their identity into these body modifications that they were doing. There was no emotional attachment to these things in terms of, I want you to address me in a certain way. I want you to see me as I see myself. And I think that's the big difference is these people, yeah, they look happy. They're talking about it like this is the most amazing thing in the world. But what happens when outsiders still don't see them as they view themselves? There's usually pushback. There's claims of transphobia and all of that stuff. So this is what I'm saying. Like, this doesn't actually get rid of any of the trauma. It just redirects it somewhere else. And all I see in this video is sadness and potentially a lot of regret.
Homophobia is basically the belief that there's something bad about gay people or queerness. Like, if you think there's something bad about it, you are homophobic. That's what it is, literally what it is. It's that simple.
Okay.
And a lot of people will be like, well, I'm not homophobic, I just don't want, like, to talk about it, or I think it should stay private. And it's like, no, that's homophobic too, because you still think there's something there that isn't appropriate or that we shouldn't be, like, sharing or talking about. And even this idea that, like, it's weak.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, the dominant sexuality should be men and women. If everyone was gay on the planet, human race would die. Okay? It would die. Why do you care if someone's homophobic? Why do you care if someone's transphobic? Are they hurting you? Not talking about mentally, because you can take yourself out of that situation if you really want to. You don't have to engage with people that are in your face telling you that, I don't think you should be gay, I don't think you should be trans or whatever. But you're asking for something that is unrealistic, which is for everyone to just see how you live your life as normal and okay. And that's unrealistic. Not everyone is going to be on board with that. Like, come on, guys. I'm gonna skip that. I don't even know what else he's gonna say. Well, what is this?
So for backstory, no one at my work even has name tags. Empty. Empty. So I show up to work like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 buttons. Usually 7. And they will still misgender me. And like be like, just call me young woman. One of them just calls me girl. And they just act like no one is seeing these, even though no one else in the store has any buttons on their shirt. I literally don't know what to do at this point. Management hasn't acknowledged it, so I'm just gonna keep adding. But I'm like, I snapped at one of my coworkers. They were like, she, and I was like, he. I have 7 buttons.
You're a she. It doesn't matter how many buttons you put. It doesn't negate the fact that you're still a she. If you're upset about the way that people are perceiving you, you should ask yourself, what is it that I'm actually expecting out of the rest of the world? Because it seems like expecting other people to totally just imagine something else or someone else that's standing in front of them, which is a guy, and you're not a guy, you're a girl. You freak out at someone for calling you a girl. I keep seeing this shit. What is this? A teacher in Maryland reported used a photo depicting a male genitalia to... Okay, what is this? This received this from someone in the school district who's a parent in middle school art class in Western Maryland is using this piece as an option for kids to choose to teach kids about movement in art. He's jerking off. Face. But still, he's jerking off. I don't know what other body part that could possibly be. These are balls. Yo. Oh, lovely shirt. Let's see.
The Don't Say Gay bill is actually also the Don't Say Straight bill.
Here's a section if you wanted to pause and screenshot.
I read
Because
it.
of Florida's choice to keep things vague, so there's a big umbrella of which to discriminate. They also included straight people. So these are the straight things that you won't be able to talk about in Florida schools
Why are you
when this is
talking like
enacted. Gender signs need to be taken off all of the bathroom doors.
No.
You cannot line up kids in girl rows and boy rows. You cannot talk about traditional families or a family with a man and a woman.
Okay, this person is reaching, and this is what I found is happening with a lot of people who ended up reading the bill and realized that it isn't exactly what they thought it was, so then they'll try to reach and make other claims out of thin air. This bill is basically preventing new things from happening. It's not changing anything, it's preventing new things from happening. So if you go back to 2019, what is the issue? All of a sudden, do people want kids to learn about gender identity, which is political propaganda? Why do teachers and allies want to teach kids about this? It didn't exist a few years ago. So now they're just pulling things out of thin air and saying that this bill is very vague. No, it's not. It's normal. And we need, by the way, the male and female signs for bathrooms to make that distinction, because we do not want the opposite sex in other bathrooms. Which is the whole point. Oh, man.
So because I've been getting this question a lot lately, I am going to use this space to answer it. And that is, as a preschool teacher, a drag king, and as a member of the LGBTQ community, how do I feel about the new legislations for, like, the Don't Say Gay bill or the reporting of transgender kids? And while I don't see things like that too much in preschool, my opinion on it is that I don't care what the government tells me to do. I am going to do what I think is best for the health and safety, and that includes mental health and safety and emotional health and safety of my kids.
Kids don't know what drag queens are, or drag kings. I don't even know what the hell that is. They don't know what that is unless you put it in front of them. So this is why I say gender identity is a political Trojan horse, because they're trying to put a wedge between the student and the parent. Even in local government in a lot of states, they've shot down this gender identity thing, and they're telling teachers, you're not allowed to teach these concepts. But people like her are going around the parents' back and are continuing to teach these things, and sometimes will go as far as to change the title of the course so that the parent doesn't understand what's actually still being taught. It's very sneaky, very disgusting, because what this is saying is, parents, you don't own your child. They do not belong to you. We are now the new parents for this child. We are the guardians. They're trying to literally strip children away from parents. Yeah, like I said, parents, get involved with your school, find out what they're teaching. They're probably naming it something else. I've noticed that a lot of people are calling it emotional learning. Or they're labeling it as some type of mental health learning. They're trying to wrap it in that, but it's just political propaganda. Pride flags. Why do all of these look like military rankings? What is going on here?
I ended up telling my students that I was gay, and how it came up was one of the students. I was like, my mom thinks that you're gay because of your voice. And I'm like, maybe not. So they were asking me if I was, because I kind of alluded that I was. So I kind of let them wonder and ponder on it. And I have like the LGBT promotional, this is a safe community kind of stuff, the rainbow stuff all up in my room. And I told them, I'm like, if you look around the room, that should give you an answer to your question. So I did officially tell them. They, of course, went berserk. So instead of teaching social studies today, they just asked me a whole bunch of questions about being gay.
Aside from the obvious nonsense that this teacher was talking about,
how it came up.
Learning, they're trying to wrap it in that, but it's just political propaganda. Pride flags. Why do all of these look like military rankings? What is going on here?
I ended up telling my students that I was gay, and how it came up was one of the students. I was like, my mom thinks that you're gay because of your voice. And I'm like, maybe not. So they were asking me if I was, because I kind of alluded that I was. So I kind of let them wonder and ponder on it. And I have the LGBT promotional, like this is a safe community kind of stuff, the rainbow stuff all up in my room. And I told them, I'm like, if you look around the room, that should give you an answer to your question. So I did officially tell them. They, of course, went berserk. So instead of teaching social studies today, they just asked me a whole bunch of questions about being gay.
From the obvious nonsense that this teacher was talking about, did you know that those little signs, I see them a lot in some of the malls around me, they'll say this is a safe space for LGBTQ, or we support LGBTQ. When you see something that says that this is a safe space, what they mean is this is a political space for LGBT on the left. One thing that I have noticed as a content creator is I have a lot of gay, lesbian viewers, trans viewers, and they'll all say the same thing, is that they totally disassociate from the community because it's corrosive. They're very abrasive and want you to all fall into one line of thinking, which is very similar to the black community. If you don't vote Democrat, you're a coon, you're an Uncle Tom, you're a race traitor, the same exact shit. So yeah, when they say safe space, it's not really a safe space. Go in there as a gay person, go into one of these safe spaces with a MAGA hat on and see what happens.
I just wanted to get on here to say happy Visibility Day to my trans, queer, and non-binary family.
Happy Visibility Day to trans, queer, and non-binary family. Ma'am, they're visible every day. They make sure you know that they're queer or trans. It's in their bios. That's how they greet themselves. Every day is Trans Visibility Day. Are you serious?
I feel so honored to be able to celebrate this day. My name's Lavender Lou.
Hi, Lavender.
In my mid-20s,
okay, girl.
I am currently, posted up in some stolen Multnomah lands.
What?
Stolen Multnomah lands. I identify as two-spirit, and my relationship with my divine masculine and my divine feminine are very omnipresent every single day. I have very much an embodiment of male and female energy that doesn't sway. To all my other trans family, I want you to know that I see you, that I love you, that this universe is undergoing an immense reconstruction right now, but that we've got this. As long as we continue to stand together and to stand in our truths, we've got this. You are queerphobic, transphobic, xenophobic. Go educate yourself. If you don't want to educate yourself, go be an idiot with the rest of the idiots in the world. But I can promise you that your lack of education is harming you and harming your ability to connect with yourself, your true self.
I can guarantee you that your usage of TikTok is harming you and corroding your brain.
So there was an interesting comment on my classroom decor video about how parents might complain, and there's actually a way to be really sneaky about supporting specifically queer students in your classroom, and I want to show you it. So historically, the pink triangle was actually used in concentration camps to identify gay women and also people who were asexual, and now it's been co-opted by the queer community to be a symbol of a safe space. Dropping a pink triangle somewhere in your room makes a huge difference because kids look for that, especially in places, especially in high school spaces. Kids will look for that, and so that's kind of a sneaky way to show your support if you're in an area that...
You look for that, ma'am. You look for that. Not kids, you do. They might ask you, what the hell is this pink triangle, but you're the one that put it there. As I said, safe space? No, it's not. Go in there talking about spewing Republican talking points in these safe spaces and see what happens.
If woman sees me as woman, yes. If woman sees me as non-binary, yes. If woman sees me as man, no. If man sees me as man, yes. If man sees me as non-binary, fine. If man sees me as woman, no. If non-binary see me at all, yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
I was an elementary school teacher in Florida. This new bill has really been weighing on me a lot. I teach first grade, which means my classroom is one of the ones that will be directly affected. For those of you who haven't been in the classroom a while, one of the things that teachers always do at back to school night and meet the teacher and things like that is they like send home this cute little like meet the teacher thing where it has like a little bio about us, some of our favorite stuff, just so that you know who we are. How do I do that next year? Do I lie and not talk about my marriage? Do I pretend I'm single? Do I invalidate my spouse's stance as a trans femme person?
Okay, again, read the damn bill. The other thing is, why is this person so upset about not being able to talk about their gay marriage with their first graders? The purpose of school is to learn about things that are required to help you go about in your life as an adult. When I was a kid, I really did not care about teachers' personal life was like. I just don't care because I'm there to learn. It's a little bit creepy that this person is almost in tears not being able to have these conversations. Like, you're seeking validation from children.
It makes me very angry when people don't want to talk about gender and sexuality in classrooms, specifically for the reasons that students won't understand. Because in my experience with teaching, that is never the case. I'm a non-binary teacher and I use the title mix. And today I had 12 new students and I just go, "Hi, my name is Mix for PQ. I use mix instead of miss. It's a little bit different, but I'm still a teacher just the same." And they got it right away. I got mixed.
Yo, let these teachers come to my hood. I'm quite interested to see how the kids are acting at like my old high school because they were bad. Like they were really bad. They don't give a damn about the feelings of teachers. Wait, no, they're teaching 2-year-olds. That's why you're teaching 2-year-olds, of course, because 2-year-olds are at that phase that they think that they're fairies and superheroes and mythological creatures. No. Go to a high school, go to my local high school and try this pronoun thing and see what happens.
If there's a don't say gay bill, there should be a don't say straight bill. Because it's not fair and there are multiple kinds of humans in this world and you are ruining the psyche, the confidence of so many young children because you are discrediting their parents.
Yo, stop it!
Not everyone who has a period is a woman, and not every woman has a period. Period.
No.
Accept it, move on. It's good advice.
No! It's bad advice!
But also, to my fellow trans women out there, you should never try to shame a woman with a period into being grateful if they have one by saying something like, "You're so lucky. If I were you, I'd be so happy." You're not them. You don't have a right to speak for them, and it's not your job. But also, cis women, please stop telling trans women or women without periods in general if they're lucky they don't have to deal with it. That is really insensitive and cruel in some cases. Let's just all agree to...
Sir, I find it so ironic that they're making this video and saying that it's disrespectful and cruel to talk about a woman and her period, but then is saying that it's also cruel for women to say you're so lucky to not have your period when this person has never had a period to understand it sucks. It's not fun. You bleed everywhere. You cramp. You gain weight. Okay? You got the chichos growing. All right? Your appetite's out of control. You got mood swings. There's nothing fun about it.
So I'm a member of the DID system, and for me right now, that means that in the coming months, I am going to be able to watch some of my best friends and some of my closest companions get the body of their dreams that matches their gender, that makes them feel happy, and in exchange, I'm going to have to give up my own. I'm cisgender, the majority of my headmates aren't, and we've decided to transition.
Huh?
Which means that as happy as I am for the men in my system, I am about to have to watch myself go through the wrong...
Hold on. This video is confusing me. Hold on.
I'm a member of a DID system, and for me right now, that means that in the coming months, I'm going to be able to watch some of my best friends and some of my closest companions get the body of their dreams that matches their gender, that makes them feel happy, and in exchange, I'm going to have to give up my own. I'm cisgender, the majority of my headmates aren't, and we've decided to transition. Which means that as happy as I am for the men in my system, I am about to have to watch myself go through the wrong...
Okay, so...
It's gonna be permanent. I don't think we talk enough about how DID gets rid of a person's bodily autonomy. You know, I hear people say all the time, the one thing you have control over is your own body and your own reactions, and I don't have that. This isn't my body, these aren't my reactions or my memories. I have like 30 people living in my brain, and everything I do belongs to us.
Okay, so they have multiple personalities. Like I said, gender identity puts a band-aid over underlying mental problems. Identity confusion. I looked up DID, dissociative identity disorder. Oh no, I am gonna pray for this girl.
I would rather lose my job than out one of my students to their families. Being a safe person and a safe place for kids that don't have that at home is one of the best parts of being a teacher. So yeah, I'm not doing it. I don't know. Fire me, sue me, take me to jail. I'm not doing it.
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, ma'am, that is the whole reason that parents are pushing back, is that they want you to quit. So that's good. Thank you very much.
My pronouns. So of course we have he, him, his, himself, and they, them, theirs, themselves. And then we also have void, self, end, ender, enders, ender self, death, self, pixel self, vile.
Remember, in like 2000s, you had, well, let's think about this. You had a generation of people that were hippies. You had the goth people. You had the emos. You had the raw people. Remember that? You had different generations of all kinds of styles and trends, and this is no different. And I find it very ironic that this sweet child is wearing a clown face. Okay. Don't be mean.
If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me!
My teachers never had social media like this. I would be very concerned if I saw this on MySpace when MySpace was still a thing. That's weird.
Definitely a different gender euphoria that comes with getting blocked by like queer youth. There was this kid that walked by my workspace today, and I had met them before, but we just started talking, and they were like, I think I really like you. And I was like, oh, thanks. I'm glad I make a good first impression. I hadn't gotten their name yet, so I asked, and then they asked my name. I said my name is Parker. Then they look at me and they're like, can I get your pronouns? Just call me right away. And I had my pronouns up on a whiteboard behind me, so I point at it, and they were like, oh, okay. I'm just so, like, clearly so excited. And so I asked back, and I'm like, okay, what about yours? And they were like, oh, any. And I said, okay. So there's definitely a different...
Bragging about getting flirted with, that's, makes my...
And it is a wet specimen.
I thought this was Marilyn Manson for a second. Okay.
And it is a wet specimen. And it is my uterus, plus the tubes as well. So, ready for the reveal? This is it. This is my uterus. She scrubbed off all the blood. That is my cervix. That's what a cervix looks like, y'all. And these little strings right here are my fallopian tubes. This is my uterus. This is it compared to my head. This little thing causes so much problems for everybody. And I also got a LED plug-in LED stand with it, so it lights up different color and spins while it displays it, which is so cool. Remember again, and it is a wet.
Alright, you know what? I think I'm done for right now. Thank you everyone for watching this. You know what? This was something. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and let me know what other videos you would like me to react to. Leave the link in the comment section below. My name is Gothix, and I'm gonna go now. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. If you want to keep my grift going, consider picking up some official merch by visiting nosisnos.com/Gothix or joining my locals community at gothix.locals.com for more content. As always, you can help amplify my message by giving this video a thumbs up and by sharing it online with your friends. Until next time.
My name's Kevin. I'm a musician and performer. I just adopted a rescue cat named Luna. I'm sharing my disability story to help others start the conversation.
Howdy. My name is Madison Drake, and I am the Secretary for Texas A&M Young Americans for Freedom. First of all, thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Thank Robert and Patricia Herbold for their generous support that made tonight's lecture possible. I would also like to thank Young America's Foundation for their help in hosting tonight's event. If you are a student here at Texas A&M and would like to join Young Americans for Freedom, where you will have exclusive opportunities like VIP seating at events like as well as meet and greet opportunities with our speakers, please visit tamuyaf.org or visit a chapter member at the table outside the venue after the show. If you are interested in or considering supporting our chapter and helping us put on events like this in the future, please visit tamuyaf.org/donate to a chapter member at the table outside the venue after the event. A few housekeeping items before we kick off tonight's event. Or standing in the aisles is not permitted. Be respectful to those around you and do not block the view of other audience members. Questions will not be tolerated and you will be asked to leave the venue. If you disagree with tonight's speaker, we encourage you to respectfully participate in the Q&A at the end of the program. I have the honor of introducing tonight's distinguished speaker. He is a writer, blogger, and recently best-selling LGBT children's author. Children's author of the book Johnny the Walrus. He is well known for his hilarious insights into culture, policy, and religion as the host of the Matt Walsh Show on the Daily Wire. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming the leader of the Sweet Baby Gang himself, Matt Walsh.
All right. Great, thanks a lot, everybody. I was feeling good before I came out here, but now I got all confused on the way out because they were just explaining to me that, oh, just so you know, when you're here and they say whoop, it's good, but if they say it's bad, but then they said that, well, sometimes can be good too because they're agreeing with you, but it's about a bad thing, and so I'm like, okay, well. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you especially to YAF, of course, and an extra special thanks to the leftist infiltrators in the crowd. Thank you. Thank you, sir. And I appreciate your attendance to the leftists, and I look forward to your hijinks. The cops and security especially look forward to it.
What up, bro?
Now, informants, I just have to mention this if you haven't heard, because it's just great. Some informants over at YAF sent me internal documents where the protesters have, helpfully laid out their plan point by point, and even described ahead of time the disguises that they're going to be wearing. Because their plan is to infiltrate the event from the inside and disrupt it, and generally cause a big scene. And you know how much I hate big scenes. That's the last thing that I like. So just for fun, I just want to read just because it's hilarious, this part of the document is so good. Before we get going, I just want to read it so we can all enjoy it together. Step 2, so it's like a 5-step plan. Step 2, show up at MSC Bethencourt Ballroom, which is where we are, right? Again, wearing business casual or business formal clothing. Early gives us time to form groups and ensures that our members can reserve as many seats as possible before Walsh's supporters show up. It allows us to blend in with Walsh's supporters and should be done in addition to dressing cisgender and heterosexual passing. If you're questioned or draw attention due to your voice, appearance, or gender presentation, explain that you're attending the talk to earn credit for a political science or philosophy class. I'm glad these people are going to dress decently for a change, so that's good. But many of you are not dressed business casual at all, so I'm a little confused. Actually dressed up for the occasion. I never wear a sports jacket. I dressed up for the occasion just so I could match the level of the crowd and the leftists. And then I was quite interested in this plan to dress cisgender or heterosexual passing. Around the room, I'm sure that any of you are in the heterosexual uniform. Because I don't know what that is. I explained on my show yesterday that the best way to dress heterosexually is to wear a t-shirt that says, I'm a heterosexual. Because that's what we do in the hetero community, right?
A bowl of grits.
That's how we identify members of our tribe. That's what we all do.
Some grits, man.
And the clown nose. I said no one's wearing a clown nose either. And then just to give you a preview of what's to come, they're going to plan on playing something speakers that they're going to smuggle in here.
Like Goldilocks?
How they're going to smuggle them in.
Nah.
Because we did check the bags. In case if you see one of these speakers, don't
porridge, man. I eat grits.
And they have a little chant planned for us, and then that'll be the intermission, and once they're gone, we'll resume. Anyway, good. As for the regular program, what I'm here to talk about, the shocking claim that I'm here to make that men are not women and women are not men. Sure. It's the easiest applause line of my public speaking career. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, much of the why will become obvious, hopefully, as we proceed, but I'd like to offer a thought on that subject at the start. Talk about this topic here and on so many other college campuses and on my show all the time and on Dr. Phil and everywhere else. This is quite possibly the most important and most dire issue we face as a civilization. That's what I believe. Shouldn't be, though, right? We shouldn't need to spend any time discussing the fact that men have penises and women have vaginas. Talk about that on a college campus of all places. Learn that scientific fact as a child, and that ought to be the end of the debate. Powerful forces in our society, the most powerful, have expended enormous amounts of time, money, and resources to obscure this fundamental scientific fact. The fact is so fundamental that militating against it means militating against truth itself, against reality itself. So why do I talk about gender ideology? Because the truth matters. Ideology is the most severe and extreme attack on truth in our lifetimes, and possibly in the history of mankind. I've said before that I have no great passion for the subject of geometry either. But if there was a serious and sustained campaign to convince the world that squares are circles and circles are squares, I'd be standing up here right now giving a speech titled, Squares Aren't Circles. Willing to forfeit basic elements of reality. For assault, I think we fight back and we fight back hard. I talk about this issue, and we should all talk about it, because it makes the other side very angry. Not that I enjoy making them angry. I do enjoy it a lot, but that's not the point. That's just a perk. The point is that there is great value in saying things that you're most forbidden from saying. The truth is considered most offensive. That's exactly the truth that we should be shouting most often and loudest. Do this because the tyrants who want to suppress truth ought to be defied simply on principle. And we should do it because there's a reason they don't want to talk about this. There's a reason why they want to keep the agenda hidden. My 5-year-old son's room the other day, and he looked at me startled, and he said, "Hi, Daddy, don't look under the bed." So, of course, I immediately looked under the bed, not sure what I would find, but praying that whatever it is, it would still be alive, or whoever it is. And instead, I found a large bag of Tostitos chips, which I had been looking for 2 days, that he had been slowly snacking on. Give away the game by telling me not to look under the bed. The left, in a similar way, gives away the game by telling us not to talk about this. The bed. On that note, let's talk about gender ideology. It's now taken as self-evident that something called gender even exists, distinct from biological sex, and that the former is an artificial social construct. These ideas were not always self-evident. Right? In fact, they weren't evident at all to anyone for the entire history of the human race up until about a half-century ago. Generations lived and died engaging in art and science and philosophy and everything else that comprises human civilization, all while assuming that there were only males and females and rarely finding any need, or rather never finding any need, for any other categories. In the 20th century, that all changed. The suddenness and the magnitude of this shift in our understanding of human nature, I think we should probably take some time to acquaint ourselves with the people responsible for it. When it comes to the concept of gender and gender constructs, a place to start than Dr. John Money. He was a prominent psychologist and sexologist. He was one of the early pioneers of the gender theories that are currently taught in grade schools and in universities like this one and in every school in the country. First, to take the word gender out of the realm of grammar and language where it belongs, because words have gender, people don't. Apply it to people. He coined the terms gender role, gender identity, sexual orientation. That was all him. Suffice it to say, he was an extremely influential man. Anybody who propagates left-wing gender theory today is parroting his ideas, whether they know it or not, and most of the time they don't know it. It ought to trouble gender theory proponents because John Money was, among other things, a fraud, a quack, an abuser, and a pedophile. Most of that stuff is not much of a deterrence these days to a lot of people on the left, but
Little Caesar's Cheesy Stuffed Crazy Bread is crazy. Pick up Stuffed Crazy Bread and Crazy Sauce for only $3.49.
Is it too stuffed? Probably not.
Walk out at Little Caesar.
Pizza, pizza.
Hello folks, today is Friday, April 22nd, 2022. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news that has been going on this week. And it's a pretty jam-packed week, so let's just jump in. Starting off with PlayStation news, kind of catching up with things, really. There's been a lot of talk lately about like what is Sony going to acquire? What big new company or studio is Sony going to gobble up? Because as we've talked about in the past, all the major publishers and platform holders are buying up companies. And catching up from last week, insider and journalist Jeff Grubb, who has gotten some scoops right before, has said that it is not Kojima Productions that has been heavily rumored for a long time. He said that, according to him, that's not the case, and that it's actually bigger than Kojima Productions, which could mean literally anything. And then one other thing I wanted to include that I think is really worth a read is a tweet thread by a Japanese analyst. He works for a Japanese gaming consultancy business. His resume checks out, and he posted a long tweet thread kind of detailing and outlining the background behind From Software, the creators of Dark Souls and, of course, more recently Elden Ring, and kind of goes into and outlines their path and how technically they could be acquired by Sony. Now, that is just a rumor. He's even saying himself, it could happen, it could not happen, but still the information and how From Software was formed, a lot of this I actually didn't know, so I would just say it's worth a read if you like this stuff as much as I do, because all the news stories, like usual, everything I talk about is going to be linked down in the description. It's also completely empty in here today. Do you guys remember back when like the pandemic started and I was doing videos and I was just like talking to myself? It feels like that again. Now moving on to more PlayStation news, to celebrate 420, God of War 2018 lead Cory Barlog posted a little update video saying that they are very much still working on God of War Ragnarok and that they don't quite have something to share right this second, but please be patient, which, cool, whatever, man, very nice, but then people went online and asked other people working on God of War if they can confirm that it's still 2022, because it sounded like maybe we wouldn't see it this year, and somebody working there, and I have the tweet here, confirmed that we are still going to see it in 2022, which, cool. awesome. Rumors are circulating around Insomniac's next game and possibly multiplayer. So they posted like a job listing looking for engineers specifically around a world-class multiplayer project, which referenced worlds and lore and existing properties and melee combat. Now, that could mean anything. At first, I was like, oh, multiplayer, okay, Killzone? Are they going to make a new Killzone? But it could be more than that. Is it a Marvel thing? Who knows? But your boy just thought that was a kind of interesting update. And also in some cool news, some news that personally excites me, is more Star Wars games post-EA. Now, we've talked about a lot of Star Wars announcements in the past. Now that EA isn't going to have exclusivity to make the games, Lucasfilm Games is branching out and giving different developers games to make, like we've talked about previously, like with Quantic Dream. And now Amy Hennig is once again getting a crack at a Star Wars game, working with Skydance. Skydance is also working on a Marvel game, but now they have announced they are working on a Star Wars game headed up by Amy Hennig. For those of you that don't know, is one of the creators of the original Uncharted, total legend who was kind of bounced around from project to project for a while. She was working on a Star Wars game for the longest time, and it sounded promising. There's so much insider reports and so much information out there about that game if you want to read up on that, thanks to some good reporting. But more Star Wars games are in the works, and I've said this before, but I think things are looking up. There was a time where we just had Star Wars games all the time in the 90s and 2000s, and it was cool, and I'd like to see these worlds explored in games again. So hopefully this is a step in the right direction. Oh boy. Now, in some other news catching up, we missed the news a week or so ago with the reports suggesting that Xbox is looking into placing ads in their games, like in-game ads, specifically around free-to-play games. And, just ads in games kind of freaks people out. Doesn't sound good. Don't really want that type of thing. And interestingly enough, now this week, we have news from Sony suggesting from insiders that they are also looking into doing the same thing. This stated specifically it was going to be inconspicuous stuff, like a billboard in an open world game or something like that. But this is still actually a little bit more of a ways out, because game makers actually have to bring advertisers on board and convince them, especially with like M-rated games. I expect this to just be free to play only for now, but still it paints a larger picture. We're just a bunch of ads in games. Not good, man. I got an idea. What if we didn't? Hey, next...
Ads in video games. So, like, product placement? Like, you can use, like, real stuff in video games now? Well, that's all mods, though. But it's still advertisement. What isn't? Okay, so I was going to say what's all mods is, Grand Theft Auto. You can like mod it to where the cars are like real cars, like BMWs and Mustangs and fucking Yukon Denalis and shit, and they can have like the real car in the game. But that's advertisement. But then other racers do that a lot and advertise car companies. Like most race car games use Subarus and Fiats and Lamborghinis, and that's product placement and advertisement for games. Also, like, I think like because I'm not really big on sports games, but what I can remember is like even like some basketball and football games would have like product placement in there, and you can wear Nikes or however you build your character, like. So that's advertisement already in video games. It's product placement, the same thing. But not like, we haven't had like a direct commercial, like the game pauses and like, buy this from this company now while deals last. You need this product in your life, or else you're a piece of shit. Yeah, I don't want to be playing a game and then have a fucking Pepsi commercial pop up. Drink Pepsi.
Thanks to Vapor 95 for sponsoring this video. Now, they offer art as products and clothing based around vaporwave aesthetics, 90s nostalgia, internet culture, anime, and more. And all of their stuff is awesome. They offer a lot of stuff from like mirrors that look like old CDs to cool tapestries and hoodies, and we've been really digging their stuff because we're 90s kids. And it's nice to wear clothing that represents the golden age of video games and internet culture. Yeah, that's right, I said it, the golden age. And I mean, look at it. All their stuff is really bold and crazy and slick with a really cool nostalgia aesthetic. Vapor 95 collaborates with and supports artists, and all of their clothing items are made to order right here in the United States, and all of it is eco-friendly and nice and soft. So if you want to rock some retro and go a little bold, be it with a product, a tapestry, a hoodie, t-shirt, Hawaiian shirt, sweatpants, and a bunch more stuff, just use discount code GameRanks at vapor95.com for 15% off your order. And yes, they actually are selling a hat like this for real. So click the link in the description, vapor95.com. Thanks to Vapor95 for sponsoring this video. Sorry, I just look weird with hats on it. This is why I don't wear hats. And another update, a lot of PlayStation news, like I said this week, but Siphon Filter. 2 words I can't believe I'm saying out loud. New leaks are suggesting listings for the original Siphon Filter games have been rated for PS4 and PS5, suggesting that they are coming. Re-releases, whatever have you. A lot of people are thinking this is leading up to Sony's new updated PlayStation Now, or PlayStation Plus, rather, service that is going to give you access to games, like a subscription type of thing that we talked about. You're going to get access to legacy games, older games.
Siphon Filter, oh my god, yo, if they bring that back, that was like one of the first like good fucking 3D spy games. You running around like, I don't know, man, that shit, Siphon Filter was before. Well, oh man, was that before Metal Gear Solid? I'm pretty sure. Or maybe not. But anyway, Siphon Filter was as good as like a Metal Gear Solid, yeah. It was motherfucking damn, I can't think of the name of the other game with Sam Fisher. What was the name of his shit, yo? Splinter Cell. Siphon Filter, Splinter Cell, and Metal Gear Solid are like the OG classic fucking spy games, yo. Like 3-dimensional. Like when like 3D games really started coming out. And that's crazy, like, I don't know, I don't even like side-scrolling games at all anymore. But in the beginning, that's all we had. That was every fucking game was a side-scroller. And then goddamn, what that shit was, Wolfenstein or some shit, it was like one of the first 3D games, like Wolfenstein and Doom. And once the fucking 3D shit started taking off, like, motherfuckers like, fuck side scrollers. But some of the best games were side scrollers. Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, like Donkey Kong, like all of the fighting games were flat, were like 2D. And so now, like I say, since everything is three-dimensional, it's hard for me to play a side-scroller. And then, well, actually now, so much shit is VR. And I swear, once they perfect the VR, it'll probably be hard to play like a regular 3D game now.
Suggested, and it seems like this is it right here. Siphon Filter, pretty cool. Those games were great. Metal Gear Solid was better. I'm biased, sorry, not trying to start a fight, but just cool old games that some people might be able to play for the first time, see what we're all yapping about. I can't wait for a bunch of 14-year-olds to fire up the original Siphon Filter on their PS5 and go, this is terrible. Come on, man, you had to be there. But we also now have updates from Nintendo on some release date stuff. Xenoblade Chronicles is now pushed to July 29th. But swooping in, now we have Splatoon 3 releasing September 9th. Along with that, Facebook or Meta or whatever you want to call it had their VR gaming showcase. It's kind of just small updates for people that are already fans of VR. The things that interested me the most is like a new game from the Boneworks people. That game was very experimental, and ultimately I wasn't as into it as much as other VR fans were, but I appreciated the work they put in, so this new one could be really promising. Along with that, just a cool update to Resident Evil 4 VR, a full redone Mercenaries mode. As a Resident Evil fan, I just love that mode, and I will always applaud it showing up more. Also, they're bringing Ghostbusters to VR, so who are you going to call? Mark Zuckerberg, I don't know. Now in some other news, Sega announced a new Sonic collection, Sonic Origins. This is coming in June, and it's remasters of 4 classic games. It's Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, Sonic 3, and Knuckles, and Sonic CD. They're going to be remastered and updated with visuals and tweaks and little extra features and stuff like that, and what came with it is a very complicated DLC and pre-order bonus screen, which just, ugh. I saw this, and it's like, aren't we past this? This feels like the Deus Ex augment your pre-order days. You remember that? No, a lot of people forgot about that, but I still remember. And in some strange news, It Takes Two is becoming a movie. Yes, one of my favorite games from last year. I freaking love that game. Has been picked up by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's production company. And it's going to be him producing and working with the movie, as well as Joseph Fares, the lead behind the development studio, the F the Oscars guy. So, yeah, I don't really know how to feel about that, because I thought it was cool and like quirky and light, like a Pixar animated movie type thing, but some of the fun was really just from the actual gameplay experience. I also don't think like The Rock's type of production company movies is the right fit for this, but that's just me. I'm a movie weirdo. I still root for video game movies. It's just like a weird, interesting thing to see them continue to try. It's always interesting to talk about. It just makes me appreciate video games even more. So we're just gonna have to wait and see where this one ends up. But also at PAX East 2022 in Boston, my favorite video game convention ever. I'm not there. I didn't go this year. Shout out to any of you guys who are there. Hope you're having fun. Miss you. Friends, colleagues, people who watch the show. It's always so good to meet you. I'll see you next year. But first day at PAX East, 2K and Gearbox came out with a bunch of stuff, and the biggest announcement to come from the Gearbox thing was a new Tales from the Borderlands game, which is pretty unexpected, but pretty cool. Now, that game was pretty successful, a lot of people would say, because Telltale Games made it. But Telltale Games, at least as it currently stands, isn't quite the same, so this is an internal Gearbox-developed game, which could mean anything. It could be a completely different type of game, so I'm still pretty skeptical. I know a lot of people, the story and the writing behind Tales from the Borderlands was some of the best stuff in the Borderlands universe, so I'm glad they're trying it again, but seemingly with a different team involved. But it is slated right now, I believe, for 2022. So, yeah. But that's all the news going on this week. There's a lot. Like I said, there was a lot of PlayStation news, so I want to know what you think about the new PS Plus, and are you going to get it to play Siphon Filter? What do you think about Xbox and PlayStation putting ads in games? Do you think it's going to stick to free-to-play, where I guess it makes sense? Or do you think it's going to trickle into your $60 game experiences? Are you also going to jump back into Warzone because King Kong and Godzilla showed up? What type of crossover would you like to see in one of those big, crazy free-to-play games? What do you think about the new Halo updates, the announcement of a new Star Wars game? Let's talk about anything this week. Like I said, it's a lot this week. So let me know what you think down in the comments. We'll be down there as much as possible, but things do get a little crazy. So if you want to yell at me directly, of course, you can always find me on Twitter and Instagram and my other YouTube channel, Jake Baldino. But thank you guys for being here. Clicking the like button legit helps us. We would appreciate that. We're here every Friday for you to just give you a light news catch up. Hope you have a nice weekend. Go enjoy yourself. Be safe. I'm Jake Baldino. Pizza's on me.
Get ready to go to Win-Free Bethlehem for PA's loosest slots and PA's highest payouts. More playtime and more paytime.
Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and you know what time it is. Radical Reggie's back. Thanks for coming, dude. It's been too long.
I know, right, man? I'm excited to show a lot of pictures that we got from Portland that we haven't shown, and lots of other cool.
In the news these days that it's hard to keep up with it all. So please welcome one of my writers, Namdi, with news you need to know.
Thanks, Amber. Scientists revealed this week that a new construction project may cause dolphins to go extinct in the Gulf of Mexico.
No, I can't do this right now. Hey, take it away!
What was that?
Oh, that's my personal Sandman. He's basically just like Howard Sandman Sims from Amateur Night at the Apollo. You know that guy who would usher failed acts off stage in a fun way? Except my guy takes away news stories that I don't want to see.
Huh. That's an interesting approach.
So I skip the ones that make me feel blah, and I move on to better stories. Ian.
Amber? A New York City-sized ice shelf collapsed in Antarctica recently.
Take him away!
What